This port is 2,342 miles from the nearest ocean. For ports that serve the ocean, it is the furthest inland from any other port in the world. It's the largest in the Great Lakes with tonnage. It's in the top 20 of the United States. It has 3 lighthouses, 1, 2, 3, an iconic lift bridge, and I was born in this city. I'm Chuck.
I'm Poppin.
The channel's Restless Viking. Let's explore the Port of Duluth Superior. So in the 1800s, the city of Duluth could use the natural bay of Superior Bay way over there quite a few miles in Superior, Wisconsin. But they didn't like that because it took a long time for traffic to come that way and it wasn't really that great of an entrance to the port. And the federal government actually did a survey that said, yeah, this canal, putting a canal here would be really great. But they didn't do anything. So the city of Duluth, along with the railroads in 1870, decided, let's just dig it ourselves. So they started work on the Duluth Canal. And that made the politicians in Superior, Wisconsin a little upset. So they filed for an injunction. And those politicians got that injunction on July 13th of 1871. But it was too late because the people of Duluth had finished the canal a couple months earlier. And local lore says that in April of 1871, that a local brewer, Sidney Luce, who soon became mayor, gathered up a bunch of citizens and they took picks and shovels and they dug the canal and made the first connection to Lake Superior. Soon after, the injunction was lifted, and then in 1887, the Army Corps of Engineers took over the canal.
So a lumber baron from Detroit, William Boeing, recognize the name? He had purchased land up here on either side of the canal, and he decided this would be a good opportunity to make some money, and so he decided he wanted to charge tolls for boats coming in and out of the canal. So in 1888, William Boeing hired well-known prominent attorney Marshall Elworth to string a rope across this canal to charge tolls. Then in 1889, little notes started appearing in offices telling people, boaters, that they were going to be charged a toll. And it said this: to all boat and vessel owners, you are hereby notified that on or after the 15th of October in 1889, the right of passage through the canal connecting the waters of Lake Superior or of the Bay of Duluth will be denied by me to all boat and vessel owners. A rope will be stretched across the canal upon my property, which lies upon either side of the canal. The owner or master of any boat or vessel breaking the same will be promptly proceeded against in the courts. Dated September 27th, 1889. William Boeing. But boat owners didn't abide, and the whole issue disappeared a month later when William Boeing passed away. So William Boeing's son left Yale in 1903. His name is Bill Boeing. You probably recognize his name. And he decided to leave college and follow in his father's footsteps and move to the Northwest, trying to be a lumber baron. But during that time, he built the first Boeing aircraft.
Well, as luck would have it, the rest of our video was done in time lapse.
Oops.
These little GoPros are cunning contraptions, and they often just trick a selfie cameraman into thinking that he's in video mode when he's actually in time lapse. So, in the spirit of YouTube documentarians, is that a word? We'll do our best to finish this story in the echoey halls of Valhalla. So Wilhelm Boeing fails in his first attempt at seedy capitalism And in 1870, Duluth welcomes its first railroad, the Lake Superior and Mississippi Rail Line. And the port becomes a mid-continent trading hub. And in 1871, when the canal first opens, the first grain elevator in Duluth ships its first load of grain. And then they take coal inbound and they send packaged goods in and out of the port. And the port surpasses 1 million tons of grain.
By then, the Mesabi and the Northern Railroad had reached Duluth with iron ore from the Mesabi Range and 3 other ranges. The Mesabi Range supplied 60% of our iron for our nation through the 20th century.
By 1900, Duluth has 53,000 inhabitants, ships 5 million tons of cargo, and has 8,000 vessel visits by 1902.
In 1905, an aerial ferry bridge was constructed. It was a gondola that went back and forth across the river. It only took 1 minute instead of a 5-minute ferry ride. But this ferry bridge only carried 60 tons. It was not designed for cars. It only was designed for wagons and people.
In 1929, the bridge was upgraded to a counterbalance bridge platform that was raised 135 feet. And that platform is raised about 5,000 times per year. And ships that pass under the bridge follow a customary horn sequence where the ship will blast a captain's salute, which is 1 long and 2 shorts, and the bridge will answer with its 2 locomotive horns with the same thing. Now, not every ship does this, and sometimes it's a master's salute, which is 3 longs and 2 shorts, but the Arthur M. Anderson, when it passes under the bridge on November 10th of every year, will do a master's salute to the bridge, and then the bridge will respond. The Arthur M. Anderson was the ship that escorted the Edmund Fitzgerald as it sank and then went back into the treacherous water to search for them. And the Arthur M. Anderson does this in memory of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
By 1918, shipbuilding had boomed at the port of Duluth Superior. By 1939, there were 98 wharves that lined the harbor. There were 7 ore docks, 21 coal docks, and 11 grain complexes. In 1942, this port served the war effort with a record of 74.3 million tons. It was only to be outdone by the ports of New York and Philadelphia. And in 1953, this port set a record of shipping 77 million tons of cargo, and this record still stands today.
And then in 1959, the St. Lawrence Seaway was completed, and on May 3rd of that year, Duluth welcomes its first ocean-going vessel. By the 70s, all of the good iron was mined, shipbuilding moved elsewhere, and the economy took its toll. Not to mention, I was born and adopted away, and Duluth entered a period of decline.
But today you wouldn't know that because it is a vibrant, growing city again. These buildings have been reconstructed and reinvented into shops and restaurants. We really enjoyed ourselves in Duluth. I'm Poppins.
I'm Chuck, the channel's Restless Viking. Thanks for exploring the Duluth Canal with us, and we look forward to seeing you again.